Welcome to the Fine Arts Zanabazar Museum. My name is Dodlamjav and I'm your guide for today. So the Fine Arts Museum was founded in 1966. As of today, our collection spans from the Upper Paleolithic period to the early 20th century. So history of art is being told at our museum. Our collection has about 20,000 objects in its permanent collection, and 10% of that is shown throughout our 12 main galleries and an exhibition hall of the museum. So we're standing in our ancient arts gallery where we have ancient petroglyphs, Bronze Age deer stone statues, human stone statues from the medieval states that existed in Mongolia. And one of the highlights is an archaeological find that was discovered and excavated in 2009. Okay, so we continue with the ancient arts, and beside me you see a 13th century human stone statue, which, unlike the earlier human stone statues, has a few key differences. One of them is that its head was found intact. So unlike the 7th century, most of 7th century human stone statues, which are found without its head. Also, the clothing and the armor of this human stone statue are much more elaborately carved, so we see a more development in the style. Also, one of the key features of this human stone statue is that it has shoes down there, and so the figure is depicted as standing. So in this hall, we can see Mongolian traditional folk art. So that includes traditional smithery works, different types of smithery works, wood carvings, traditional wood carvings, and traditional paintings. One of the highlights in this gallery is a wood carving by an artist named Dorch, who depicted the silver tree that was supposedly located in the ancient capital of Kharkhorum, which was created by a French creator, Guillaume Boucher, in 1253. The artist Dorch carved this work in 1950. So the Bodhi were the religious leaders of Buddhism in Mongolia. The first one of them was Gombodorjiin Zanabazar, who was born in 1635. So after Zanabazar, there were 8 reincarnations of him. So here, this exhibition showcases the different portrayals of the 8 Bodhi of Mongolia. Throughout the historical period of 1639 to 2012, Mongolians had their own religious leader, a spiritual head, and the Bodhs contributed tremendously to the establishment and development of Buddhism in Mongolia and its culture. So from here, we'll go to our second floor of the museum, to our prints and drawings gallery, where there are 19th to 20th century works are shown there. So now we're on the second floor. The first gallery is the prints and drawings gallery. The origin of printmaking dates back to the 7th century, and the way it reached Mongolia is historically through the introduction of Buddhism here in Mongolia. The height of development for printmaking in Mongolia was during the late 19th to early 20th century. And here in our galleries we can see works also from that period. Different methods are used for printmaking. One of the earliest forms is a woodblock prints method. The way that woodblock printmaking is made is that a wooden bar is prepared and the inscription or an imagery is carved in reverse on that bar, and then ink is applied, and that could be transformed onto various surfaces such as paper, silk or cotton. So this method was employed for some of the works that we can see in this gallery. So we're standing in our Batar Art Hall, which is dedicated to the first Bodhi Zanabazar's art. Our museum is actually named after Zanabazar because he was an important historical figure and a masterful artist himself. So Zanabazar's art, especially his bronzes, are renowned for his special technique of casting, bronze casting, which is a single piece of whole casting, does not involve any connections of wieldings of any sort. Also, Zanabazar invented the Soyomb alphabet in 1686, and the first letter of the alphabet is the Soyomb letter, which today is a symbol of our state, a symbol for independence of the state, Mongolia. Our museum collection actually has some of the most important works of Zanabazar, which include the Five Dhayani Buddhas, the White Tara, and the deity Manjushri. So the White Tara by Zanabazar is actually a representation of a young female, they say. So her age is implied with the flower that she's holding in her left hand, and that flower is not fully bloomed yet. Also, the White Tara is known to have 7 eyes. So there's 3 on her temple, 2 on the palms of the hand, and then 2 on the bottom of her feet. So one of the interesting things that we have at our museum is an actual handprint of Zanabazar that was taken by his students upon the passing away of their teacher. So Zanabazar's period is considered to be the cultural renaissance in the art and culture of Mongolia. So from that time on, Buddhist art had highly developed, and as for Tonka paintings, which we can see in this gallery, is considered to be the 19th to 20th century period, is considered to be the zenith of its development. So Tonka is a name, Tibetan name for Buddhist paintings, which are done using mineral pigment on cotton, paper, or silk, and they can depict deities relating to Buddhist pantheon and other historical figures also related to the Buddhist teachings and history. So in this hall we can see the peaceful or amiable-looking deities and also portrayals of historical figures. So the second gallery for Tonka paintings, we can see the 10 thangkas, or the 10 wrathful protectors. There are the fierce, protective deities who protect us from all sorts of bad things, and hence they're so fierce and sort of angry looking, we could say. One of them we could highlight is the Shri Devi, which we have behind me. Shri Devi is the only female out of the 10 wrathful protectors, and the myth surrounding Shri Devi here in Mongolia is that she visits every household on the eve of Lunar New Year. So by that she repels the negative in the household and then brings good fortune for the household. So for that, Mongolians actually clean their households and try to rid of all sorts of bad things for the coming new year. So the hall we're standing in is dedicated to silk applique, or sometimes called silk paintings. These are all 19th to 20th century works which employed a special method of silk applique. So the method is that first of all an artist creates a sketch, and based off that sketch they choose different types of silk. They cut out the silk and then glue it on top of each other, those shapes, different shapes, and then do the stitching at the very end. So hence this is called the silk applique. This type of work requires a lot of people, and especially female artisans did most of the stitching work during the time. So most of these works were created by artists of Ikhure, the capital of Mongolia back then, which later became Ulaanbaatar. So we've entered our Tam Dance hall, which is a Buddhist ceremonial dance ritual. It has its roots from Tibet, and the first Ikhure Tam Dance, for example, was held in 1811. So Tam Dance involves these elaborate costumes, and which include silk applique costumes, papier-mâché masks, and other musical instruments made out of copper, brass, and silver. And this dance involves many figures, such as the wrathful protectors and other supportive figures. So behind me we can actually see some of the figures of the Tam Dance, such as Vajravana, the god of death in the middle, and the black-hatted figure to the left. So the masks for the Tam figures is made out of papier-mâché technique, and some figures involve these elaborate coral masks, such as the red protector or jamsrang. So in this mask we can see that smaller and larger size corals were inlaid to make this mask. So these masks are twice the size of a normal human head, so the ones wearing these masks can actually see from the holes in the mouth. There are several representations of mandala that we have in our museum collection. Some are done in the thangkas or silk applique technique, which are two-dimensional representations, and behind me we have a three-dimensional representation of a mandala created from wood. So this is a Kalachakra mandala, which was made in 1914. So three-dimensional representations of mandalas such as this can also be called lösen in Mongolian. So one of the interesting things that was introduced in the early 20th century is a realistic portrayal of important historical figures, such as these two portraits which showcase the 8th Bogd, or the last king of Mongolia, and his queen Dandakdotlam. So in these portraits done by Sharav, we can see that photographs were used to paint these portraits. So hence the realistic look on their faces and the bodily parts in these works.